All right, so I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the PowerPoint, aggression and bullying. Let me share my screen here. This is also on your Blackboard site, so you can read it or you can listen to me or both. Either one would be great. Okay, so when you're looking at aggression, it's a problem-solving behavior. Children do not do anything that does not work for them in some way. As adults, we may not see the point of their behavior, but they do. Whether they can verbalize it is a different story. They may not be able to tell you why, but in some way that behavior works for them. It gets them what they want. So it's up to us as adults and teachers to figure out why they're doing it. Problem solving, not exactly in the way we want them to. Two kinds of aggression. One of them is instrumental, and this is the kind you see most often. It's not intended to hurt anybody. It's accidental. You've got the 3-year-old that wants the block that the other 3-year-old is playing with, and he shoves him out of the way and grabs the block. He didn't mean to push the other kid and make him fall down and hit his head. That's an accident. He wanted an instrument, whatever the instrument is, whether it's the block or the cookie or the teddy bear, but it was over an object. Then the other kind of aggression is actually hostile. And this is where you set out to hurt somebody. You purposely want to inflict pain. You see one child hitting another one on purpose. You can also have hostile aggression that's verbal, where that you hurt others with, your words. You can have online hostile aggression when people post nasty things about other people, very much on purpose. It's also a form of bullying, obviously. Causes, well, lots of causes, and transitions are a really terrible time for aggression because teacher's not paying a lot of attention, maybe because he or she is getting ready to do something else and things are moving in a different direction. So a few things that you can do to help with this is have a predictable schedule with words and pictures. And we've talked a lot about that, but that's very helpful as you transition from one activity or place to another, that children are able to predict what comes next. And at least they don't feel at loose ends about what's happening to them next. Another thing you can do about transitions is give a warning. And I do that no matter what with young children. I always say, boys and girls, in 5 minutes, when the big hand of that clock is at, or when you see the numbers, whatever, on the digital clock, this is what we're going to be doing. So they know. They may not be able to understand what the clock is saying, but they know when that big hand has moved over to the 12 or wherever you tell them it's going to move to. Have a predictable transition mode. It doesn't matter what your mode is. It really doesn't. You can have ABC order like I did. You can have stand in line chant. You can have a particular position for hands behind your back or in your pocket. Doesn't matter. Teach how your strategy works and what your expectation is. Also, children may be aggressive because their sensory needs are unmet. They may have cause to want to feel things, and they may squeeze and punch and kick because they just feel too crowded. It's too much. We're just squeezing and crowding us in. So here's what you do. Individual carpet squares, easy to come by. All you have to do is go to one of the carpet stores or the big box stores like Home Depot and Lowe's, and say, I'm a public school teacher and I just would love to have some of your leftover samples when you're done using them, because they trade them out every couple of months. And, you can pick up as many samples as you want. I had a whole stack in the corner of my room, cost me nothing. If some children don't feel comfortable, if you're lining them up, they don't feel comfortable in the middle of the row because, again, they're too crowded in. Allow that child to step to the end of the line. That sometimes solves a huge problem and it really costs you nothing. Allow children to play alone at a table. There are some children that do not want to be crowded in by others all the time. They need a little downtime, a little quiet time. Nothing wrong with that. I feel like that myself some days. Again, sometimes children have not enough sensory input and they'll kick, squeeze, punch, kick, whatever, bite to get that sense of touch, to be in contact with other people. For those children, you want to provide some extra manipulatives, some Play-Doh that they can work with, squeeze balls, some sandpaper for them to rub, shaving cream, water, pudding to do finger painting with. A lot of this is trial and error. You know that, right? So guidance strategies for children who are aggressive. Tell them what to do rather than what not to do. I need you to use your walking feet rather than stop running. Proximity. Proximity is perfect because it means you're standing right next to them. A lot of times teachers can solve all kinds of misbehavior by being close by. Picture cues, you can talk yourself to death. Sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words, just hold it up. And I love this key ring with these laminated signs that if someone is talking out of turn constantly, you might just put that picture of that in front of them, worth 1,000 words, because sometimes it's like those Charlie Brown cartoons. After a while, the teacher is wah, 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 because you're talking at them all day. But a picture might do the trick. Books about different behaviors and how to handle it are wonderful. Persona doll stories. We talked about using persona dolls before. I highly recommend them if you have someone that is aggressive, because you can always put the doll on your lap and say, Junior here is having a problem. When he was out on the playground today, someone hit him. What can we do about preventing that from happening again? Always a good idea. Literature. This is a great book. I love this whole Becky Bailey series. And you can go online and find all kinds of books, but this one is a free read, so I'll let you look at that yourself. It's great for your classroom. One of the positive guidance strategy, people are always saying, I tell them you're sorry. Well, I hate to tell you, but they may not be sorry. They're pretty happy they hit the kid because they wanted to. You never know. Don't make children say they're sorry, because you're making a liar out of them. And that's not a good thing to teach children. It's never helpful to teach someone that you can hurt another person and all you have to do is say, I'm sorry, and go about your business, because that certainly doesn't help building a strong conscience. On a better note, you might teach them to assist the child that has been injured in some way. They might be getting a wet paper towel to put on their boo-boo, or go get some ice from the nurse, or help them rebuild the tower of blocks they knocked down, or help them draw a new picture that they just scribbled on, whatever it is, restitution. That also allows the child who was the perpetrator to maintain a level of self-respect instead of, I am the bad person. I mean, who wants to be that all the time? Children are easily labeled in the classroom. This is a really good video, short on how to respond to anger and aggression in the classroom. Good information. I had to include this. This is from The Christmas Story, and this to me is the classic image of a bully. So it's about a 30-second piece out of The Christmas Story. And for some of you, it's going to be very familiar. Anyhow, I'm sure you'll smile about it. Couldn't resist, sorry. Here's a visual of what verbal bullying looks like. Have the kids crumple up a piece of paper, have them just stomp on it, hit it, smack it, and then have them smooth it out. And then when they smooth it out, have them say, I'm sorry. And then look at it. Did it erase all the scars? is it all smooth and brand new looking again? And they'll say, no, it still looks all messed up. I go, that's what your heart looks like after someone has said something nasty to you. So anyway, it's a visual. My first graders always really liked this, and they were like, oh my goodness, that's what it looks like. You see a lot of pre-bullying activities. If you're teaching 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s, and pre-bullying is really on the edge. It's, for instance, it's behavior that is intentional and always consistent about being aimed at one child. You know, if one child always has their toy grabbed, that is a pre-bullying behavior where you need to step in. Telling secrets, well, you should have been in my first grade class. These girls were always whispering behind someone's back. But that's pre-bullying, and it's it can be pre-bullying. It's fine that they want to tell secrets, and that's normal. However, if they're spreading lies about one child, they're calling one child a name, those are pre-bullying characteristics. That has to be nipped in the bud. Children always role play, when they're out on the playground, they assign each other roles. I'll be the mommy, you be the daddy, so-and-so's the baby, such and such is the kitty cat, whatever. That's fine. You want them to play. Dramatic play is great. However, if somebody is always the least powerful person, the least favored, if someone always has to be the dog and bark like a dog, or if someone always has to be the baby, that is a typical pre-bullying activity, because one child always is the most powerless person in that play group. It's something you might want to look at. If someone is always left out, this one here is a classic. I'm going to let you read this on your own. Nicknames, teasing or taunting. Nicknames can be cute. Nicknames also can be less than cute. So think about that as you're reading through this list. Some of them are not so nice. This is another good book. It's a Becky Bailey, and I highly recommend it. Schubert's Big Voice. This is a wonderful video. The Sesame Street video on, this is the Big Birds Club. Perfect for 3s, 4s, and 5s. If you're teaching that age group, it'll be wonderful for your class. Big Bird wants to join the Good Birds Club in the worst way. However, the Good Birds make this very difficult, and you'll see it when you watch it. It's great. Love it. And that's the end of my talk. I hope this is helpful to you in some way. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Have a great week. Bye.